Hi guys, so we're going to go over weather map number 2. We're going to go over the answers to each of the questions and an explanation as to why. So starting with question 1, it says, what type of weather is Jackson, Wyoming currently having and why? So the first thing we have to do is find Jackson on our map. We can see that it's right here, kind of on the very edge of Wyoming. And if we look, there's a big H there. That means it's a high pressure system. We know that high pressure kind of means happy weather. So we would expect to see nice clear skies with a lot of sun in Jackson. Question number 2 says, how is New Jersey's weather different today than the past couple of days and why? So if we look at New Jersey, again, right here, we have to think about when you're comparing days worth of weather, right, compared to days versus the past couple of days, you have to zoom out a little bit. So instead of just focusing on New Jersey, you kind of have to broaden your picture and look at what's happening around it. So we can see that this cold front will have recently passed over New Jersey. We know that all weather moves from kind of west to east, right, in this direction, left to right across the United States. We know that when it's a warm front, it moves kind of at an upward diagonal, and when it's a cold front, it kind of moves at a downward diagonal. So you can see that this cold front would have started up much higher towards Canada and slowly worked its way down and across. It would have recently passed over New Jersey. So the previous couple of days in New Jersey were probably warmer, more mild weather, because we know that the cold air sits behind the cold front. So now that this cold front has just passed over New Jersey, it's going to be much colder weather than it was the previous few days. Question number 3 says, if San Francisco has high humidity, what type of weather is occurring there and why? So if we find San Francisco on the west coast, you can see that there is an L indicating a low pressure system, which means lousy weather. So we know that lousy weather is going to mean lots of clouds. If it's high humidity, like the question asks, then those clouds are going to have lots of moisture in them. And lots of moisture and wetness in clouds is going to indicate rain. So we would expect that this low pressure system would have brought lots of clouds, and because there is a high humidity, that those clouds would be having rain fall from them. Question 4 is interesting because it asks us again to look at the same city, San Francisco, but imagine that instead of having a high humidity, it now has a low humidity, and to predict what type of weather would occur there and why. So again, there's still an L, there's still a low pressure system, lousy weather, we would still have lots of clouds, but if you have low humidity, that's going to indicate not a lot of moisture. So we would expect that there wouldn't be any moisture falling from those clouds. So you would still have the clouds. It would be a cloudy, kind of overcast day, but you would not expect any rain like you did in question 3 with the high humidity. And then the last question, question 5, asks us, what will the weather in northern Florida be like tomorrow, and how do you know? So if we look over here at Florida, specifically northern Florida, you can see right now that there is an L there indicating a low pressure system, lousy weather. You can see that there is rain on the radar kind of in that area, which again matches that kind of lousy weather. And then you can see that there's actually a stationary front. You can see the red half circles and the blue triangles together. That means that there's a stationary front over that area with the low pressure system and the rain. We know that stationary fronts don't move. That's why they're called stationary. Okay. They actually stay over an area, stay in the same exact place until one of the fronts eventually grows strong enough to pass over. And so we would expect that this stationary front would actually stay exactly in the same place for a few days. So if today northern Florida is having rain and lousy weather, we would expect that tomorrow it would also have rain and lousy weather, and that would continue until eventually this stationary front was strong enough to move.